Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, America's #1 trusted resource for realtors who demand authentic, real-time coaching. Starring award-winning real estate coaches Tim and Julie Harris. Get ready for unfiltered, full-strength honesty about what is truly working to get you into action and make you money in this new real estate boom. Now to our hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Welcome back to Real Estate Coaching Radio, and we are your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris. Julie, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so we have a rockin' topic today. We're going to be talking with all of you guys about what really the top 1% of all agents do, what they know, and what they practice on a regular basis that all of you immediately want to employ in your own lives. A lot of this stuff, I think, for the most part, is going to, for especially our students, it's going to emphasize what you're already doing. In a lot of cases, it's going to reinstill best practices. And some of you, most of you, I would imagine, since there's 100,000 of you guys that are listening to us now, most of you, this is going to be new information. Either way, this is great content, great material, great opportunity for you to take notes. So we have got 16 points, I believe, right, Julie? 16?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and hopefully we'll get through most of them today. But before we do, Julie has something that she wants to share with all of you.
Yes, this is a fantastic email that I received about 2 hours ago from a coaching client, Andrea. And Andrea has been part of an Inman series of interviews, and I think we did a superstar interview. So if you'd like to send her referrals, she's easy to find. This is one of my regular coaching clients, and I just have to share this not as kudos to me, although it certainly makes me feel good as her coach, but more importantly, to use her as an example of what is possible. Not all of you guys listening are already grizzled veterans, so this is for everyone. So listen, this will only take a second. And this is from Andrea. She says, "Hi, Julie. I wrote an offer for a client 2 days ago. We should be getting a response tonight after multiple offers, but if it gets accepted, these are my numbers for current open escrows. The only downside is 2 of them are short sales, which we'll see what happens with." Okay, that's still happening in her market. Good to know. "After receiving my bachelor's in business as an honors student with an amazing resume, great internships, College of Business student mentor, etc., my starting position with all of that education, guys, was $45,000 a year, working 50 to 60-hour weeks. This is only the beginning of February, and I have, if everything closes, already $48,000 in paychecks on the way." She says, "That is so cool." I tend to be really hard on myself, but I put this on my wipe-off board to remind me that I am kicking butt, and I will kick even more butt. So thank you so much for everything from Andrea. So I think that's kudos to her for taking action and implementing the things that have already created just in 2 months of hard work. And really, it's been a little bit more than that with things we've been implementing. But really, she's already beaten what would have taken her 50 to 60-hour work weeks for a year to create less income than she's already got in the hopper. So I'm so proud of her and so excited for her. I think she's a great example of someone who's very educated and very motivated, and it's paying off for her. So I also use this as an example, Tim, to some of our agents who are possibly taking a little bit longer to get going, because agents like Andrea, she's got a pretty typical profile of new. She's been licensed for a while, but she's now turning on the burners after having her family. So, we got a lot of up-and-coming superstars out there, and those of you who are resting on your laurels, there's still a lot of Andreas out there. What are your thoughts, Tim?
Julie, well, I mean, obviously we love Andrea. I like when you and I were able to talk about the newer coaching clients and the newer agents, 2 years or less, 1 year or less, because their success stories, I think, with most of our listeners, resonates more than, say, somebody who's been in the business forever. I mean, you guys know that we have some of the top producing agents in the country, and you pick your major market, chances are they're one of our coaching clients and maybe one of Julie and I's personal coaching clients. So it's great to hear from them, but it's really, honestly, for the most part, when you hear from those guys, it's not that easy to pull that much information out because they're at such a different level, income-wise, production-wise. They've kind of forgotten about the nuts and bolts of what it took to get them there. Now, it's not true with all of them, but I think, generally speaking, when you're listening to a superstar interview with someone that's, earning tens of millions of dollars per year, sold over $1 billion worth of real estate, if you're somebody that's like Andrea, that's in a normal price range in a normal part of America, and you're a great year for you is 200,000 or 300,000, and it should be for most of you, that would be a great year as well. That is what it is. But yeah, it's hard for you to really learn much from that top producer. So when we hear from an Andrea or some of our recent superstars about you guys who are up and coming superstars, or you guys are able to get into real estate and replace all the income you had at your previous job, or get into real estate, maybe back into real estate and make more money, pay off debt, kind of get your head screwed on straight again. Dave Ramsey, guys, for those of you who are looking for some financial sanity, trying to figure out a financial path, Dave Ramsey's written a lot of great books about that. We're huge Dave fans. In real estate, and right now in this recovering market, there is no better way for you to essentially build generational wealth for you and your family. Julie, one of the consistent things I'm seeing amongst all of our top producing agents, either the up-and-comers or the ones that are at the top of their game, are they all consistently use very similar systems, very similar, I would say, business systems. And one of the ones that we are big advocates of and a sponsor of today's radio show is mojosells.com. And I know that's something that you hear constantly from your top producing agents, that they all love Mojo. If you guys haven't checked out mojosells.com yet, you're really missing something. Any of you join, and all of you who have joined our coaching program, one of the first things in the first few calls we're going to challenge you to do is become a subscriber to mojosells.com. So get a jump on that and check out mojosells.com. Again, great source for expireds. They're killer auto dialer. It's a whole essentially business system that once you implement with using our scripts, it's one of the, yes, it requires skill, but it's one of the easiest ways for you to take listings right now in this new market. It's one of the literally dozens of things.
And it makes you more efficient too,
Yeah, I mean, it is. You know what I like about it best, to be honest with you, Julie, is that the way that they design the software, you literally put your headset on, you've got our scripts up on the wall, Mojo will get you the expireds. They'll get you the expired phone numbers, like over half of the phone numbers they'll get of all the expireds in your marketplace. And you can either do a 1 dialer, a 2 dialer, or a 3 dialer. In other words, literally you guys can listen to the CEO. I interviewed him on the radio not too long ago. But I love the idea of an agent being able to click the big green button that says start, and all of a sudden Mojo starts making 3 outbound calls at once. Because the problem back when Julie and I were doing outbound prospecting, decades ago, is that you had to literally look up the phone numbers in the morning or have your administrative assistant do it, and then you'd have to sit there and dial. So the problem was not just getting the information. That was a pain in the butt. But it was actually, not falling. Yeah, exactly. Not falling asleep between dials. But now Mojo eliminates all of that, so it's fantastic. So Julie, let's get back to our topic here. And the topic, again, of today's radio show is Top 1% Millionaire Agent Secrets Revealed. Now, what we're really going to be drilling down on are the very specific things that millionaire agents, the top producers in the country, do. Again, these are things that are very consistent amongst all top producers or all realtors that are working on becoming top producers. So, Julie, let's just jump right in.
You got it. So really the focus is on the standards that they're following, and this will get you into momentum and keep you there. So point number 1, superstars have goals in the 5 areas of life. And this is something we teach in the Treasure Map, which is our business plan. But what are those 5 areas of life? You can jot them down right now. It's family, financial, mental or spiritual, physical, and educational. Now the difference, though, because a lot of you guys have heard about this before, the difference is that superstars don't just talk about these goals. They have them posted in their offices. They review their goals daily. If I, as their coach, put them on the spot and I say, remember those goals that you told me about? Give me your top 3 financial goals. How do we stand on that? They don't have to look them up. They don't have to dig them out. They've got to memorize because they look at it all the time. They're posted in their offices. They review them daily. And this is the reasons they're working so hard in real estate. So hint to this, the idea of balance is a myth. When you're focused on accomplishing a specific goal, it's normal to be a little bit out of balance. So, that's why you have 5 areas of life, and you're going to have different days you feel differently. Sometimes the family is totally in balance, you're good, but you're kind of feeling a little bit guilty about that vacation because you kind of stepped away from your financial goals for that 10 days you were gone. So that's a normal imbalance that when you get back, you take care of that and you get it back on the track, which is why you have your goals posted. So the difference, Tim, between ordinary agents that live from check to check or from a handful of deals to a handful of deals, the ones that have feast and famine, the roller coaster of income that you always hear about, the difference between those agents and superstars is that superstars actually take their goals seriously.
So let us help you with your goals. we didn't talk about this ahead of time, Julie, but let's do this. Mm-hmm. For everybody that requests a free coaching call by going to freecoachingcallsforagents.com, freecoachingcallsforagents.com, we'll give you our Real Estate Treasure Map book, which is essentially our business plan. It includes a very detailed walkthrough on how you can set goals in each of the 5 categories of life. So all you got to do is go to freecoachingcallsforagents.com, freecoachingcallsforagents.com, and I'll make it so that automatically when you request your free coaching call, you get a copy of our book, The Real Estate Treasure Map, along with your business plan. Basically, the book is the business plan. So, Jules, what's next?
So point number 2, superstars have a schedule, and they take it seriously. Their schedule is based on dollar productive activity. In real estate, this means lead generation, lead follow-up, pre-qualifying, presenting, negotiating, and closing. And you can write down lather, rinse, repeat. So these are the only things that actually lead to a paycheck. They do the things that they don't want to do when they don't want to do them at the very highest level. However, difference between ordinary agents and superstars is that superstars do it consistently. When you do that, you will have, be, and experience all the things in life that other people won't because they're not consistent. So a lot of you guys have schedules. You've worked on them. You've put them together. Maybe your office manager made you do that. Maybe you went to a seminar or a webinar and it was all about time management. So many of you actually have schedules, but how seriously do you take it? Difference between getting by and making the income of your dreams so you can accomplish all the goals that you set forth is your consistency and actually following your schedule. And I know, Tim, that really makes a lot of agents' teeth itch to hear that, I've got to follow a schedule. Do you know why I got into real estate? So I didn't have to be told what to do. But isn't that the case that you find with your agents who are on track or ahead of track, that they're all actually following a schedule? Maybe not every second of the day, but wouldn't you agree that most people who are on track, maybe all of them, are actually taking that seriously?
So, yeah, the initial reaction usually is one of a little bit of recoil, emotional recoil at the idea of having to be on a schedule. But then you explain to them and help them understand what comes as, what you get when you follow a schedule. And the question that you guys have to ask yourselves is, how often do you end the day with your mind just bouncing around, all the thoughts of what you didn't get done, what you have to get done, all the worries about the inconsistent income, all the worries about, did you take care of this seller, did you take care of that buyer? All those types of things that really stress us out and make real estate sometimes really suck. And that all comes from not following a schedule. So when you are deciding to transcend the ordinary and become extraordinary, the first thing you're going to have to do is do the most important things first, and that really revolves around a schedule. A great book for those of you who are wanting to take this to the next level is a book called The Miracle Morning. We assigned that as reading material for all of our coaching students back in January. Feedback was great. It's been around for a while. Hal Elrod wrote the book. So listen to that, and like I said, it'll probably help to inspire you to take the idea of a morning schedule seriously. So Jules, what's the next point?
Okay, so point number 3 is that superstars don't worry about doing what we just talked about, that it's sometimes boring. They don't let that get in their way. They don't start and stop what they're learning all the time. They don't start and stop their schedule. They just stick to it. I call it stick-to-itiveness in a way because, they intuitively know to stick to it. It leads them to their goal. They know that repetitive boredom does pay off, but only when they reach that momentum. So stopping and starting creates the stopping and starting of income. Some of you guys suffer from cash spurts instead of enjoying cash flow. Staying the course does create predictable, profitable outcomes. And I had a coaching call with someone today who I will not mention his name, but he was feeling a little bit frustrated because the buyer's side had backed out.
You can mention his first name. That's always fun. Julie, you can mention his first name. That's always kind of fun to embarrass him.
Okay, well, I had 2 of them actually, so I'm going to actually say both Steve and Roger. And there's probably more of you guys if I look through my coaching list. But, this happens to all of you guys. You have deals fall apart. You have people back out. And the thing is, if you have not been super consistent with the things that it took to get you to that place, you can sign yourself up for inconsistent cash flow. So the thing is, the more consistent you are with your lead follow-up, your prospecting, and setting appointments, you're going to the source, right? So that has a trickle-down effect to speed up the time frame between your paychecks, between your commission checks. So the better you are on a daily basis, going to the source of what causes your income in the first place, the faster your income starts to flow in. The problem is when things go sideways, when things go sideways, we get a little bit off track, sometimes a lot off track, and that actually perpetuates the problem. Because if you let yourself get down this week over a deal that happened yesterday, you've just lost another week, 60 or 90 days from now, if you don't get cracking because you're feeling mad or depressed or anxious about this. You're actually making the problem worse by not putting one foot in front of the other or strapping your headset on and doing your lead follow-up. So the superstars understand this, and when they feel frustrated, they put that headset on and they make it their mission to set their next appointment and replace whatever tanked as soon as humanly possible. So they're kind of, I guess I would say, Tim, they're more okay with what we might call the daily grind. Does that make sense?
Well, they give themselves a limitation how long they're going to allow themselves to feel down, right?
Sometimes it's not that they don't feel down. Of course they do. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you spend lots of time and energy nurturing a deal and have it fall apart. Happens. It's the nature of the industry. It's the nature of, financing. It's the nature of life, right? So, the decision that you have to make is how long are you going to give yourself to be pissed off about it? Some of you, it's a function of months. We do free coaching calls, and we'll be on a free coaching call with an agent, and they'll say, I was doing great, and then I had 1, 2, 3 happen. I had, a few things happen. Okay, then you're thinking, well, this must have happened a week ago, as a coach. Then you say, well, when did those things happen exactly? Last year. Okay, last year. So then you're thinking last year, 2000, yeah. Then you find out last year was actually, 2008, and it happened in the spring. They remember the exact transaction. So in other words, they basically got into this cycle, this emotional mental cycle of feeling defeated, and they haven't really realized that that's where they were, and they need to climb out of it. I'm going to give a tail end point on that one. I think it's also important to mention. Superstars don't wait to feel a certain way before they get into action. That's another fallacy, is that you could only perform at the highest level when you feel like performing at the highest level. If you're just waiting around for you to feel a certain way before you take the actions that will result in you helping others and making money, chances are you're not going to make much money, because what superstars know is that you have to do it when you don't feel like doing it, right? I mean, you guys know what I'm about to say, especially our students. Long-term continual success all comes back down to Julie's previous point of doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. That means even when you don't feel like it. Now, here's the miracle of taking action when your emotions aren't in alignment. Your emotions will line up after your actions. So if you're going to wait around for your emotions to click before you take action, you will never or very rarely take action. So instead, get into action and then notice how your emotions follow suit. Every morning, Julie and I get up at the crack of dawn and we exercise. Neither one of us wants to do it. What happens is after about 15 or 20 minutes, you start feeling like doing it. That's what it takes for us on exercise. And sometimes I'm sure a lot of you feel like that about doing other things in your business. You just don't feel like doing it. Oh, my God, I'm not motivated, right? Then you start doing it, and then magically your emotional state changes. So superstars know not to wait around for their feelings, and they take action, the feelings will follow. Next point, Jules?
All right, exactly. So point number 4, superstars have a lead generation wheel. They don't just have one source that they're dependent on. So imagine an old-fashioned wagon wheel. Can you see the old wheel with all the spokes, right? There's lots of History Channel stuff that comes to mind, right? You're imagining that old wheel with those old wooden spokes. But the strongest wheels always had the most spokes. If a wheel with lots of strong spokes hit a rock along the road, the wheel wouldn't have any problem rolling down the road. You might not even feel that rock in the road. So now imagine a wheel with only 2 or 3 spokes, or maybe even 4 or 5, but they're not really that strong. They're kind of splintery and kind of crotchety looking. Well, if that wheel hits the same rock, what happens? It wipes out. It collapses. The cart turns over. So for the sake of your real estate business, your goal should be to have as many strong spokes as possible. A spoke now is then a source of business or a pipeline. So what 99% of agents do is they rely too heavily on 1 or 2 spokes or sources of leads. And this is why you guys are susceptible to every last email that's sent to you, the latest, greatest lead generation, paid whatever source, because you like to believe that that's what it's going to take. But it's critical that you have a lead generating wheel with a minimum of 7 or 8 strong spokes. Examples of potential spokes would be things like prospecting expireds and for sale by owners, having a super strong, organized center of influence that you talk to all of the time and prospect, possibly a geographic farm, a social farm from social networking. Some of you are still working REOs, short sales, BPOs, etc. Some of our clients have radio shows or TV shows, professional organizations, credit unions, sports teams that you sponsor, lots of different things. There are, in our coaching, Tim, we have more than 60 spokes that we potentially coach them. None of our agents does all 60. We recommend that you do 7 or 8, but that you do them at the highest level possible, systematized, automated, polished, scripted, and really implemented before you move on to the next spoke. So none of our students have the exact same collection of spokes, but one of the things that makes us different with how we coach our clients, Tim, you know this, is we don't let them believe that any one thing is going to be that silver bullet, because even if it is temporarily, what happens when it stops working?
Well, more specifically, you also have the situation where somebody will want to join coaching, and the last thing they'll want to do is pick up the phone, call FSBOs and expireds. Fine, no worries. Lots of other ways to build your real estate practice. Some people only want to call FSBOs and expireds and want to have apps. I mean, some of the biggest top producers in the country will never work their centers of influence and past clients. Never work them, never call them, have one, nothing, that isn't something, fine, whatever. What will you do?
Not their thing.
Perfect. We're gonna focus on those things. So I realize when you guys are out there looking at different ways of building your own lead generation wheel, and remember 7 or 8 spokes is ideal, you're falling into these beliefs that there's only one way to build your real estate practice, and that's 100% not true. One of the first things our coaches will do with you is ask, essentially, try to find, the analogy is what your low-hanging fruit is on the tree, right? So picture an apple tree with apples all the way up. Well, what's the sense in trying to climb the tree if we can essentially get our fill off the bottom of the tree? Everybody has low-hanging fruit in their business and in their lives, and that's what we help you to develop. And we're going to work around your strengths. And I would say for probably 90% of you, you guys can accomplish your goals if we just make you stronger on your strengths. And maybe the things you're weak at, frankly, we never even bother with, because your strengths can get you to where you want to be financially. And so you can literally build your business around who you are, trying to make it versus trying to make it so you are around your business. In other words, this whole belief structure that you have to fake being a real estate agent. You can't employ your own personality, your own natural talents and skills, and because you have to follow some other dogmatic real estate system, that just doesn't work. That doesn't work for you. That doesn't work for anybody. You have to have, when you hire a professional coach to be your tennis coach, for example, that tennis coach is not just going to teach you the same way he taught every other tennis player. He's going to see, is your forearm stronger than your backhand? He's going to try to see where are you able to, with the strength of your various, muscles, your legs, your arms, all that, how good your hand-eye coordination is. And you're not like the other coach or the other tennis coaching clients that he might have. The other folks are going to have their own strengths and their own weaknesses. So the reality of it is when we're helping you build your lead generation wheel, it's a customized approach for just you. And Julie, there is another sub-point here. We should give them a little bonus point here. Mm-hmm. Could you tell them what FOCUS stands for?
Follow one course until successful. Stop going from thing to thing, trying out. We kind of nickname agents like that as samplers, because they never quite, I use the 800 number as an example, right? 1-800-HOME hotline. A lot of you guys have dabbled with an IVR system. You've tried it out, but you never really figured out how to monetize it. So then you went on to the next thing, maybe buying Zillow leads.
Julie, say it right.
Whatever,
so in case
right?
Jules, 1-800-HOME-hotline.com. Because they're going to be calling 1-800-HOME hotline. They're going to be going, what? That's too many numbers. So it's 1-800-HOME-hotline.com. Yeah, if you want to check that out.
So when we talk about spokes, for example, and that would be a legitimate spoke for most of you guys, are you actually understanding it and implementing it? Are you having focus, follow one course until successful, or are you just dabbling and hoping that you hit the jackpot and you kind of do things halfway and maybe it'll kind of sort of work for you? So some of you guys are going from thing to thing instead of follow one course until successful, then move on to another thing you're implementing and follow that course until successful. So superstars are very specific with that focus. They, it's not that they have a better attention span, because it's funny, Tim, I think I have 3 brand new clients this week, and all 3 of them said, I want you to know up front, I think I have ADD. I just, I'm not somebody that really focuses that well. That it's not that superstars don't have that. Most of them do. It's kind of a common trait that they're sort of impatient types who like a lot of action. They go from thing to thing. But the difference is that superstars have recognized that, and they know that they've got to concentrate and implement at the highest level, even if it's not the most exciting thing of their day. They've actually come to terms with that thought. So write down focus stands for follow one course until successful. Stop being a moth to the light, okay, and waiting for the next bright, shiny light and going to that thing. That's part of the inconsistency of income is the result of inconsistency of focus.
Point number 5.
Point number 5, superstars are relentless with lead follow-up. This is one of my favorite points because it's so easy to cure. They can tell you their top 5 prospects off the top of their head, what's motivating these buyers or sellers, and when their next appointment with this person is. They track these leads on either a spreadsheet or a wipe-off board or both. But if I call them at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night and I say, where are your next 3 deals coming from? They know exactly what the answer is. Versus the ordinary agent that kind of threw them in a database. We're going to drip on them for a while. They'll call me when they're ready. Sound familiar?
We call dripping Guantanamo Bay lead follow-up.
Right. How's that working out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So superstars are relentless with their lead follow-up.
So our internal way for you guys to sort of, I think, remember how important lead follow-up is furiously fast lead follow-up. All these people, it's funny. I call every lead back within 5 minutes. Really, you're watching your watch and you're calling back within 5 minutes. Here's your new rule with lead follow-up. You call them back immediately. Obviously, if you're in church or if you're with your family or there are excuses, normal types of life things. But for the most part, every single one of you, especially when it's a seller lead, needs to call everyone back, have furiously fast lead follow-up. You will take business just because you called somebody back right away. Nowadays, so true story, Julie and I are always looking for real estate to buy as investments. And we, at the end of this month, are driving down to an area of Texas and on the Gulf Coast, and we're going to look for some potential investment properties. I called 5 different realtors based on their listings. You know how many people called me back? Nobody. Not a single one followed up.
Shocked.
Okay, I'm an all-cash, Jules and I are an all-cash buyer who are going to spend up to, not a small amount of money on investment properties, and they were blowing off the leads. Now, they're doing that for all their leads. They're just treating their whole business like that. If I were a seller and I found out that's how...
I guarantee you we'll be getting drip emails, though. I think I'm already getting them.
Yeah, well, exactly.
No phone
They'll
call,
put you in the drip
but
email, but they won't.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. All right, so let's talk about the next point, Julie, and then we have to start rounding the bend, as I know you have another call after this as well as I do, and it fits perfectly with the furiously fast lead follow-up. Point number 6.
Point number 6, superstars use scripts and systems consistently. Virtually every aspect of their day is designed around accomplishing their goals. Anyone who is successful is so because they do the same thing over and over in the same way. So there's a little quote that I added in here, work expands to fill the time allotted for its completion. And the reason that that's in there, Tim, is because that's the most common excuse, right? So I would use scripts, and I'd be more consistent, I'd be better with my schedule, but, I had this deal that I had to enter in the MLS, and it took me all day. Well, that's because you gave yourself all day, right? Well, I had an inspection go sideways, and I had to spend my whole week dealing with it. That's because you gave yourself all week to deal with the inspection. So superstars use scripts and systems. There's systems for, obviously lead generation, lead follow-up, time management, but they have virtually every aspect of their day designed around accomplishing their goals. So, Tim, there's a reason that we have them do their goals first in the treasure map because later in the treasure map, they have to create a schedule that is based on their goals, right? So what you do during the day should be systematized and automated as much as possible, and that means using a pre-qualification script each and every time, not just when it's somebody you don't know, okay? If you're listing your mom's house, don't you owe it to her to ask her good questions that help you be a better listing agent and get the job done for her? And yet some of you have all these complicated rules that you only use your scripts and systems in certain situations, if you do it at all, right? So superstars use scripts and systems very consistently, and anyone who is successful, we know they do it the same way over and over. And a curious thing happens, Tim, when you do that. You actually get more time to do the things that you want to do in your day, not less, when you systematize yourself.
That's absolutely right. So, Julie, we have to wrap up today's show. Remember, listeners, request a free coaching call, then you'll get a free coaching call. Free coaching calls for agents.com. But just for doing so, we're also going to give you a free copy of our book, The Real Estate Treasure Map. Some of you, I know a lot of you, if we're being honest, still haven't gotten your business plan done for 2015. And so this is a fill-in-the-blank business plan that all of you guys can use. The Real Estate Treasure Map literally is our business plan. It includes a lot of the things we talked about today, how to make your schedule, how to make your goals. It's kind of walking you through the whole process. It's one of the cornerstones of what we do when you become one of our coaching students. It's finally helping you create real goals with an action plan, with a deadline, helping you to create a real schedule, helping you to really focus on what matters most for you in your business and personal life. So we are going to pick up tomorrow or the next day on this very topic, and Julie and I will get through the rest of the points. In the meantime, please do as you always do, and share today's radio show with as many different agents as you possibly can. We certainly appreciate your support. We appreciate your loyalty. We appreciate you helping us make this the industry's #1 broadcast. And we certainly appreciate all of you coaching students who have chosen us. And we are sincere when we say we appreciate you choosing us, and we're honored to be your coach. If there's anything we can be doing for you in the meantime, you know how to reach us. You can call 866-422-9497. You can go to our main website, timandjulieharris.com, or you can request a free coaching call at freecoachingcallsforagents.com. Have a fantastic day, and we'll talk with you on the radio tomorrow.
This program has been a presentation by Tim and Julie Harris, Real Estate Coaching. For more information on our real estate coaching and training programs, visit our website at timandjulieharris.com. Remember to tune in weekdays at noon for upcoming shows. And until next time, thank you for listening to Real Estate Coaching Radio with Tim and Julie Harris.